YouTube, this is King Reef again. This time I'm going to talk about searching for God. I have a question for you. Why would a person searching for God ask atheists? I mean, by definition, they disqualify themselves. Not that it would stop an atheist from talking about God, but they are saying they don't think He is real. So a person seeking God, it would seem to me, wouldn't want to ask an atheist anything. To me, that would be like asking a man who thought the cooking was woman's work on how to make a souffle. They just don't do that very well, or at least I don't know any. As for searching for God, I find that people take their own path. Whatever they are led to, they go and seek. Looking at different religions is what they commonly do. I encourage that, actually, because if a person who needs to do that, then who am I to argue? I wasn't one to do that, but not everyone is like me. It wasn't until after I became a Christian I started learning other people's faiths. Let's take Islam, for instance. I talked to and communicated with enough of them to form an opinion about what they say. It didn't hurt my faith to explore what it was that they valued, what it was that they believed. In fact, it gave me an ability to reason out why I'm not a Muslim. This is one reason right here. The Muslims I talked to believe that Jesus is the Christ. He wasn't the Son of God, but because they say God can have no sons. Unlike a Christian belief, they place no gift of salvation on Him. They do not even think He died, let alone on a cross, and they say that He rose to heaven without atoning for the sins of the world. What they say He did was be a prophet. According to the Muslims that I communicated with, Jesus was a special prophet of Allah. Here's my problem with that. There is not in all history any Muslim walking around in the 1st century A.D. And to add to that, according to the Muslims I communicated with, Abraham was another Muslim. He submitted to God, which is what Muslim means. So even to Abraham's time, Islam was around. And there isn't any historical reference to any Muslims looking all the way back to Abraham. So I have a problem believing Islam. But I came to that mindset when I discovered what they were saying, right from the Muslims themselves. How it makes sense to them is beyond me, but I do not see that kind of thinking throughout what the Muslims do. It makes sense to them to believe in something that is not evidenced in history. So where does that put me with Jesus? I mean, some people say that there's no evidence of Jesus in the 1st century, but I say there is. I am satisfied that there is evidence of Jesus in the 1st century. The fact that there are Christians persecuted in the 1st century is enough for me, but I can also look at what happened to me the night of my conversion. It wasn't typical, as I have heard from other Christians about their conversion, so I'm rather convinced just because His Spirit was so present to me the night I told Him that I trusted Him. My words were rather tentative and cautious, as I remember. I learned a little bit about how God worked with people who were honestly seeking, trying to do it His way. I hope that if He did it that way for me, He would do it for you. But if you are going to search for God, I wouldn't counsel you to seek out the many atheist sites on the internet. If I'm right about God being at times esoteric with what He does, then they just cannot know. Even while they are looking at the truth, it won't appear to be truth to them. As I've seen on the atheist sites, because I look around everywhere on the internet, they can look right at a verse that has plain meaning to it and completely screw it up. I also think that if you're seeking God, then why go to people who say that He isn't real? To me, that's asking a different question. That's not, I'm honestly seeking after God. Is God there? Instead, it's, why shouldn't I believe in God? And you can spend your whole lifetime on that subject. the atheists have seen to it that they have plenty of reference material for you to read all your life. And while your life is wasting away, you're still not answering the question, where's God and what is the truth about Him? I just thought I'd say these things to help you out. Thanks for listening.